Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and I want to thank you for joining us today to talk about your productivity. As you know, it is a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, so I thank you for joining me along this journey of taking control of your productivity so you're working smarter, not harder, and enjoying the life that you've worked so hard to create. You are watching me on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where please remember to like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes are dropped. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, I am not going to lie. I like the likes. So thank you, those of you that have liked the presentations before. Today, I am so very excited. Well, as every week, I mean, let's be honest, talking about productivity is one of the very favorite things that I get to do. So joining you and spending some time with you is truly an honor. And again, I want to thank you for that. Today, we're talking about a subject that is very important. In fact, I might say the most important. It's productivity in you. Let's talk a little bit about productivity and you. Today, we are talking about our third episode of Productivity in You. Today, we are specifically going to talk about a you report. What is you report? We're going to talk about that a little bit. You report is an opportunity for you to identify and share what's the information about what's been going on in your life. What are the successes, the victories, the wins, the fun experiences, all of the lessons learned? What are those things you want to track and keep in mind? Let's talk a little bit about that. One thing I would like to focus on is the picture on the presentation today. It is intentional because my hope is that we all get to complete a you report sitting in a hotel in Puerto Rico overlooking the ocean, getting ready for a cruise. That's where I was sitting at this moment. I wasn't working on a you report. I was working on a project report that day. And so I wanted to share that photo with you. Today, as I mentioned, we are talking about productivity in you. So we're going to talk about you report. So we're going to talk about 5 things specifically about a you report. Some of you might be wondering, Megan, what are you talking about? You report. Don't get that. And I understand that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about why a you report matters. We're going to talk about what to include in choosing your format. We're going to talk about who gets your you report. We're going to talk about from scribbles to spotlight moments, and then an action plan for you to go with the flow. Your you report is to track your growth, to share your wins, to shape your future. There was a point in my life, point in previous years where I used to remember things and I used to remember a lot of experiences. And one of the things that I've realized is that as I have aged, as life has sped up, as there's so much more that we have access to, I don't remember things like I used to. So the goal of a you report is for you to remember the things that are important to you. It's for you to remember, what are those things that I should remember for the future that I'm going to want to look back on? So that's what the you report is. Before we get to the you report, though, I do want to report back. As we've mentioned, this is the third part of this series. We first talked about why your learning matters, right? We talked about your learning your way. We talked last week about organizing memories, and then this week, you report. This gives us productivity in you. Last week, I talked a little bit about organizing memories and different ways to do that. And so I want to follow up and show you that on Sunday, I spent the day organizing memories my way. It included watching the Tour de France. It included watching NASCAR's race at Indy. It included photo journaling, working on my calendar journal. So I had stickers and markers and calendars so I could remember. And it even included a mimosa. When we think about the importance of productivity in you, we want to look at how are we organizing our productivity? How are we organizing our memories and our experiences? How are we tracking that? So that's why I wanted to report back that last week. And I did spend time organizing my memories, and this is what it looked like. And cheers, it was a good time. You report. Let's get into it. So why the U report matters. Now you'll notice here I am using the letter U because that represents you. And so when we think about it, and because I think there's a lot that we can understand in a U report, See what I did there? So let's talk a little bit about why the U report matters. Your U report is your personal growth tracker. It's how you see your progress clearly, even when life is challenging and chaotic. It helps you spot patterns. What's working, what's not? What kind of projects do you like? What kind of things do you want to do? What do you not want to do? Spot patterns. It also helps you celebrate wins you might otherwise forget. I'm not going to lie, there's many times when my U report has helped me to remember some things that I thought I would always remember, but I didn't. So it's good to look back on them. And then it gives you an opportunity with your U report, and we're going to talk a little bit about who you might want to share it with. It's an opportunity to share updates with mentors, investors, accountability partners, friends, people that work in the same industry that you've connected with. Your U report, it tracks your growth. I want you to think it about as your highlight reel plus your personal growth GPS. It's not just data, but it's information and looking how we're moving from the past to the future. Your U report matters because it's giving you a chance to track and identify information about yourself so that you're moving forward and looking to the future and how you want to track with that. So that's why the U report matters. Let's talk a little bit about what a U report is. Now, when I very first came up with an idea of a U report, I remember it was a February morning. It was in 2020, prior to COVID going crazy. I was at a friend's house in Santa Barbara. I had spent the weekend there. And I was talking to a client, and he was frustrated because he was like, if only I had a way to track and what was going on and all of the things. He's like, when I was a manager at a building, when I was a manager at a business, I had these reports and I don't have them. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of like tracking your U report, right? You need a U report. And that he looked at me and I said, you need a U report, not a company report, not for anyone else, but you need a U report. So that's where the idea, I started working with clients with the U report. And I've worked with many clients since then. The idea of a U report is to identify information you want to ask yourself, and then ask yourself this information frequently, right? You want to track this information. So you want to identify what is important information for me that I can use to grow both personally, professionally, that I might want to track for the future, right? So let's think about what is the best way to find questions for you. We're going to look at a couple different things of questions. So if this isn't helpful, we're going to come back to another question set after this. So let's think about it. What I found, again, I was talking to a client, it was super early in the morning, about 5 a.m., not going to lie, because he lives on the East Coast. And we were talking about what are the things you want to keep track of in a U report? Well, they are the best questions for you. They should be brag worthy. They should be essential lessons, supportive, and tomorrow focused, right? So the best questions for you, brag worthy. What does that mean? What progress or wins are you proud of? Is there something you did that no one else did? For example, this last March, I completed my PMP exam and I passed that certification. And you can best believe that that was something that I was including in my U report afterwards, because that was a hard test. I mean, I'm used to being a project manager, but taking a test for it, that was a little hard, right? So we want to think about what are those things that are brag worthy? What's essential? What key lessons key lessons and trends are you noting? Now, for my clients who have been consultants or business owners, especially I had a client that worked in telehealth for a while. Well, he still works in telehealth. I had a client for a while, but it was interesting for him to begin to see trends of how he was helping people, to see trends of what clients were asking for, to see trends of project types. I had another client that was a founder, and she developed and she developed several companies, and her companies were product related. And so for her, the lessons and the trends were what's selling, where could she make the money, could she turn over, where was she going to get that, where was she going to get her off ramp for those businesses, right? Supportive. Who helped you? Who opened a door? What worked? Was it a resource? Was it, hey, I called this person and they answered? What was it? What was the support that helped you accomplish that? And then tomorrow focus. Think about what's next. What will you prioritize or try different, right? What would you do differently? So we want to think of your you report as questions that are best for you that you want to track, right? So the starting point, start with the best questions, then add specific role-specific questions, right? So we want to start by thinking, what is it you want to know about and track in your you report? What do you want to share with people? I know for me, a lot of times people don't necessarily understand what I do or my job. And so when I say, oh, I'm a productivity partner, I get a lot of, huh? And so one of the things that's helped me to explain it is when I do my you report, I could be like, oh, I've helped clients that were not organized and didn't have structure to their list. I help them come up with a tracking system and prioritize their goals. That helps people, right? So we want to think of those questions that are best for you, that share what you want to. Now, you'll notice one of the things that I also said is that you want to think of role-based specific questions. So also expanding to some role-based examples. As I've mentioned, I've worked on the U report with several of my clients that are startup founders, maybe a consultant freelancers. I've worked with creatives and professionals as well. So I want to share with you some specific role-based questions that helped them. For a startup founder, you might want to ask, what small aha moment or customer feedback made you smile this week? What was an aha moment when you're like, oh, look, that worked? Or did you try or scrap something? When you're thinking from the startup founder mindset, what are those questions you want to ask about the process, right? When it's a consultant or a freelancer, maybe you want to ask, what's the coolest quick fix or clever solution you've pulled off for a client? And let us be honest, for consultants, how important can that be for a quick fix, right? Sometimes we get in a bind and it's like, oh, what did I do? I need to remember that for the future. What are some of those solutions? Or did you have a conversation, a podcast, or a random moment that brought you a new idea for your business? Isn't that something you might want to track, right? Creative professionals. What inspired you unexpectedly? When were you creative? Again, think these are all questions you would want to ask for yourself as your you report. When you think not only what do I want to know for me, what do I in my role want to know about myself, right? When we think about it, our you report is us starting to say, what are details, questions, and information we can ask ourselves on a regular basis so we can track our growth and progress. Now, I'm going to share with you one of my examples. So I do U reports and I do them in two different ways, right? So one thing I've done with the U report is I've turned it into a fun email where I have a group of people who also do similar things to me. And so they understand. And so I send them an email and it's just kind of like, hey there, just popping in with a few highlights from my month. Thought I'd share with you some of the fun things that I'm doing. And then what I've done is when I email, and one of my very specific U reports is I track adventures I've had, places that I've traveled, and currently animal updates. We'll get to why that's important. But one of the things that I found that is important for me to track, what are some of the adventures that I've had when I've been traveling or wherever I'm staying? So one of the things that I've done is I've started to in an email include. So adventures I've had. In January, I went to the top of the rock, and I sat on the beam, and I got to tour around and see all of New York City. It was amazing. Then on Saturday in January, I went to Bakersfield and watched car race and saw Kevin Harvick race, which I hadn't been at Bakersfield for a very, very long time. And in May, I took a cake decorating class and learned something new with my sister. That was a lot of fun. Those was a way to share adventures. Then I always like to share travel recommendations, my insider trips. I like to point out places that I've stayed that I like. So on my yes calendar, my yes in this version of my U report, my yes travels was the JW Marriott in Washington, D.C. That's near the Lincoln Memorial. Has corner rooms where you get to see the Lincoln Memorial. Amazing. Highly recommend. Also, if you're looking to travel and you're in Southern California, Orange County, highly recommend the residence inn at South Coast Plaza, near South Coast Plaza. One of the reasons is because then you're close to Nordstrom and you can go shopping at a great mall and get some of their yummy iced tea. You will not regret it. One of my travel no's that I pointed out, Clovis, Fairfield, and Marriott. The location is perfect, but if customer service is important for you, I wouldn't stay there. Then recently, especially the last couple of years when I've been living up and staying in Kelseyville, there have been a lot of animals in my life that I never experienced before. For example, if you could see back there actually are 2 baby deer that are taking naps right now. And this is something that it's completely new and random for friends. So I like to send them animal stories just because it helps to shape and to share new things about me. So one way you can take a U report, right, is you can send it as an email to people that you would want to, or you could even send it to yourself. Another option for a U report, and you're probably beginning to see, in those of you who know me, this is one of my favorite ways, to me, from me, in pictures. Maybe I want to save a U report of some of my photo highlights for the last month or quarter or whatever that time period is. And so one of the things that I've done is I have also made a U report in pictures and photo collages that I keep for myself and I send to a few people. So example, again, we have the cake decorating class I took a couple of weeks ago. So these 2 babies are the babies that are behind me. This is Mama Kyle Larson and her babies, Indy and Charlotte. They were born in May. And so Mama had her double right there, Indy and Charlotte. For those of you auto racers, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I think Kyle Larson would be okay having deers named after him, don't you? Then we also have a picture of me in the rock, and there's a picture of my brother and I when we were at the races. So it's a way for me to, again, turn a U report, right? It's taking information about what's going on in my life, and it's turning it into a report that's fun for me. I know when I say report, a lot of people think work, formal, structured reports. And why I'm looking at this so many different ways is to say, it's your report. Turn it however you want. Does that make sense what I'm asking? I hope it does. I hope you've had some questions and some things you thought, you know what? I think that's what I would like to include. So we've talked a lot about examples of what can be included in your U report. The key is, what are questions and information you want to track for yourself that you're able to look at in the future and go back and learn lessons, right? So once we've talked about what we're going to include in our U report, the next question is, who gets it? Who are we going to send a U report to? I always like to say, this is where you get to be honest and say, what do you want to do it with, right? This is you for you. So you can decide, is this for you, or is this something that you might want to share with others in your network to help you grow faster? So there's a couple of ideas, right? Keep it private for yourself. As you see, I have one version that I keep private with my photo album, with my pictures. I have another version with emails that I send out. You might want to share it with an A team. Now, I call my team of support my angel team, right? So my A team. Who is your A team? Who are the people that are supporters? Who are the people that are encouragers? Who are the people that you know that you're able to talk to about these, right? Maybe you want to send it to them. Mentors or coaches or anybody that you've got in an accountability partners. Think about anyone that you get guidance from. Maybe you would like it to send it to them. Or maybe supervisors or investors. The goal of a U report and thinking of who gets it is for you to start to think about, okay, who would I like to get my U report for now? Who would I like to send this to? Who would be valuable? Or maybe I don't send it to anyone, and that's okay too. Think of it as inviting people into your success story. It's not reporting for KPIs, but for sharing your growth highlights. So that's why we want to look and think of who gets your report, right? So let's talk a little bit. So we've talked about information about the U report. We've talked about what can be included, and we've talked about who gets it. Let's go back to the process a little bit. From information to a final report, what do we do there? Once you're capturing your weekly information, how do you turn it into something, right? This is where in 2025, there are so many resources that we can use and think about to help us with our U report. This is where we can say, are we going to use automated help? Are we going to delegate it, or are we going to do it ourselves? In this world of ChatGPT, Gemini, and all different AI tools, there are ways where we can take the answers from our U report, put it in ChatGPT and say, create an email, create whatever output, create a summary. When you think about it, with our U report, there's the ability to say, we've got our data, we've talked about the questions. Now, what do we do with it? Again, automate. Do we want to use ChatGPT, Gemini, or one of those tools and say, here's the information, please spit it out into a format. I will be honest with you, I do that for my email. I do use ChatGPT to help me with my report, and I've also helped clients set up different ways with that. Do you delegate it? Now, I did have one client who had a executive assistant, and she would help with the U report. He would answer the questions, she would take the answers and create and send it back as a U report. So it was kind of fun for him to kind of see it in that perspective. Would that be something that you would like? You could hire somebody temporarily. You could hire somebody just to do that. When you think about it, there's places that you could delegate. Do you want to delegate? Or do you want to do it yourself and keep it simple? I will be honest, with my photo collage U reports, I do those myself just because I like to, right? Maybe there's some value and you want to do your reports yourself. The goal is to turn raw data into a story of progress you can look back on, learn from, and share when needed. That's why we want to think about our U report from information to the final report. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of stuff with the U report, right? We've talked about why it matters. We've talked about examples and different kinds of questions. We even looked at an email or a photo collage. We've talked about who we're going to send it to, and we're going to talk about turning it from information into a process, right? So now let's break this all in. Let's bring this let's turn your U report into action and go with the flow. So with everything we've talked about, what are 4 steps we can take to move forward with your U report? Let's go with the flow. Fun first. Again, make it into something you want to do. Think of questions you would want to answer. Think of the format that you would want to. Connect it to something fun. Maybe connect it with bubbles, maybe connect it with a cocktail, maybe connect it with a walk. So make it fun first. Then lay it out. And again, you want to check. You want to choose your reporting method, right? Is it weekly? Do you do this on the weekends? When is it that you do it? Maybe it's even an email that you get, right? You want to lay out, what does the process look like? How often am I doing this? Am I doing it quarterly, monthly, weekly? What's the frequency? Then once I know the frequency, how am I going to remind myself? Maybe it's an email that I send to myself. It's an automated email that I get reminding me to do it every week, right? Or every month. After you lay that out, then you want to organize your stuff. What are the questions and what format? Do you want to do it in a Google form? Do you want to do it in a spreadsheet? Do you want to talk your answers into a note? Options are endless. Organize your stuff for you. How can you capture information about your U report the best? And then 4th, whatever makes it work. Keep it light or detailed as you like. 5 minutes or 30 minutes, again, this is your choice. Focus on capturing the updates in the information. Focus on the fact that a U report is going to help you grow and expand, and that's what we want to do. Remember, this is not about perfection. It's about creating a habit and seeing your own progress. The reason we want to think about a U report is because we want to be able to say, well done, you. Well done. We know that there is good in reporting. We know reporting can be overwhelming. So what's the best way to capture it for you? That's what we want to think about. Track it. celebrate it, create what's next. Your U report is your growth story. Every entry is proof that you're moving forward, learning and building the life you want. The story of your past is the map of your future. Track it, celebrate it, and use it to create what's next. That's why I think a U report is so very, very important. And I hope that you'll take what I've talked about and turn it into something that works for you so that you're able to track your growth, be your best, and expand how you want. So that is Productivity and You, Part 3, U Report. Today, we again have talked about why the U report is important. We've talked about the value of them. We've talked about structures and types of questions and how you could do it. I would love for you to take all that we've talked about and ask yourself, what's one step you will take for your U report this week? That's the goal of Intentional Productivity Tips, to get you to think about your productivity, to get you to think about your personal growth, and to get you to think about how you can work smarter, not harder. So today, again, I encourage you to take time and find out what works for you for your report. This is our third episode where we have talked about your learning, organizing your memories, and U report. Next week, I will be back at next Thursday at 2:00 Pacific on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where please follow along. Let's come next week and see how we put all of this together so that you can say, I am in control of my productivity and me. And that's the goal. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for joining me and talking about your productivity and taking control of it. If you have questions, let's connect. You can always reach out to me. My email is megan@indelible.global. Please feel free to email me. Also, you can connect with my Instagram page, which is Intentional Productivity Tips, or you can check out my website and our company website at indelible.global. I want to thank you again for being here today. And I want to say, take time for yourself this week. Figure out what you want to do for you, because it's going to make a better week for you. And that's what we want. You work hard for this life that you've created, so enjoy it. That's the key. I will see you next Thursday where we wrap up Productivity in You. Between now and then, take time for you and report how you are growing this week. Here we go with a word from our sponsors. I'm going to say, take care of you and be productive this week. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.